Hello, thanks for joining me today. Today you'll need 2 blocks and a blanket. I'm just using a beach towel underneath of me here today, and I just have my blanket or beach towel rolled up so that I have just some nice support underneath of my sits bones, and those are those 2 bony points underneath of you. You might have to kind of pull flesh out of the way just to create space so that you can find yourself sitting tall on those 2 bony points. And we'll just find ourselves seated, shoulders relaxed down. And we'll just start with some breath here. So hands can rest at the tops of your thighs if you'd like, maybe palms facing up. And maybe closing your eyes, just noticing when you take your attention inward and start to focus on your breath, just how you start to feel and how it changes your perception. And taking a moment here just to notice any tension in the body or maybe any tenderness that you might be feeling. And also taking just one moment just to say thank you to ourselves for taking this time out of our day to be here on our mat. And I thank you as well for giving me this chance and to practice yoga with you. And we'll slowly start to open our eyes, so a soft gaze. And real tall, we'll start to find both hands start to shift over to the right knee. And this is my left knee, so over here towards our left knee. So we'll find from here ourselves real tall, and we'll slowly start to look over your left shoulder. And you can take a left hand behind you for some extra support, maybe tenting the fingers and looking over your shoulder. Maybe following a little further your gaze over towards the left side, and that just gets a little bit more stretch in head and neck. And try to resist this urge to take your right hand and press into your twist. This is our first twist of the day, so we're going to take this one easy. We'll slowly start to shift our way back forward. Head and neck comes around last. And we'll start to shift over towards the right side. So right side for real this time. Both hands over to our right knee. Start to show your heart to begin with over towards your right side and eventually starting to look over your right shoulder. And we'll start to really support our hand with our hands to the floor behind us and really just start to find your twist. And again, just letting this left hand be here for support, maybe starting to shift over eye gaze a little more over towards your right, over your right shoulder here. Eventually, we'll start to make our way back forward. Head and neck comes around last. And we'll start to find lengthening arms up overhead. Keep shoulders nice and plugged in. We'll exhale, reach over towards our right side. So find some length along the left side of the body. And we'll just continue this movement. We'll inhale, we'll lengthen up. And exhale, we'll shift over towards left side. So forearms to your blocks if you'd like. It doesn't have to. You can just always use tented fingers if you prefer that as well. And we just continue. Exhale, right side. Inhale, we shift back up. Exhale, left side when you're ready. And we just continue. So this nice, smooth movements with our breath. And so just continuing. And once you finish this left side, we'll make our way all the way back up tall. And then we'll slowly start to find, so we'll start to hinge at the hips and lead with the chest. We hinge forward. So you can walk fingertips out to the side, or you can walk fingertips forward, whichever you prefer. We'll just start to find a nice spine here, nice long spine, so that we can just find our breath here in this forward fold. We'll slowly start to walk our hands back towards us, nice and slow. Let's take our blocks and let's bring them up towards the top of our mat so that they're tall, so that we can reach them when we need them in just a little bit. And we'll turn so that we're going to come to a table, but we'll need this blanket. So we're going to turn to the side here, and I'm going to take my blanket and fold it again so that I have some support underneath of my knees, and I'll find my hands and knees here. So yours doesn't have to be as tall as mine. You can even just roll up your mat in that space where your knees are, and that will sometimes give you enough padding. I just always encourage extra padding underneath of our knees. When you're ready on this inhale, we'll start to lengthen in through the front of the body. On the exhale, we'll slowly start to draw our chest towards our hips. We'll let our head and neck relax. In this inhale, we slowly start to shift back forward. We lengthen in through the front of the body. And on our exhale, we'll slowly start to draw our chest towards our hips, head and neck relaxes. We'll just continue this back and forth movement. And we inhale, we shift forward. We exhale, we shift back. And just finding your pace and your breath. And you can start to exaggerate these movements a little bit more now that we've been doing them quite a bit. So you can really start to round, you can really lengthen out. You can even start to draw the hips back just a little bit, lengthening all the way out into the fingers. And then whenever you shift back forward, come back over the hands before you start to shift your chest forward. And we'll do one more of those if you'd like to join me. We just slowly lengthen in this all the way out into the fingertips. And you can pause here with me if you'd like, really getting long all the way in through the fingertips and shoulders. We inhale, we shift our way back forward like we're coming back to a table. But then let's walk our hands just a little bit further in front of us. So about a step and a half with our hands. Curl your toes under, lengthen to your plank. Nice and strong through our belly, strong through hands, arms, and shoulders. Shoulders and wrists nice and lined up. On your exhale, downward facing dog. And this inhale, back to your table, and we'll find a child's pose or a puppy here. So we'll find, child's pose, hips towards heels, forehead rests down. Or for puppy, if maybe child's pose isn't working for you, you can always walk fingertips all the way forward, forehead rests down, and so that knees and hips are a little bit more stacked here. Either of those options are perfect. And you can always use puppy pose instead of downward facing dog, or you can use child's pose instead. Any of those three are always interchangeable, so anytime you need them and anytime you're just starting to feel fatigued, these are good poses to come to where your forehead is resting down. And we'll start to inch our way back forward, or back to our hands and knees. Walk your hands back forward, so we'll come up to our plank again. We'll curl toes under, we lengthen to our plank, belly strong, exhale, downward facing dog. We'll pause here and sink into the heels for just a moment, just a breath. And slowly start to shift our knees back down, and we'll start to walk our hands just close enough towards us so that we can find ourselves lifting our knees and shifting our blanket over to the side. And we'll walk our hands up towards the top part of our mat, and we'll find from here, we'll find our table, and we'll find one more plank pose once more. So nice and strong and sturdy. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sinking into the heels. But this time, let's walk our hands towards our feet. So take as many steps as you'd like, bending knees as much as needed to find your way to a forward fold. And once you get to your forward fold, just hanging out here, head and neck relaxes. And we'll slowly find a little half lift. So hands to shins, straight spine. We'll exhale and fold down. We'll inhale, hands to shins, straight spine. Exhale, we fold. One more time, hands to shins, straight spine. But this time, we'll stay up here. So belly starts to get strong, really lengthen out through the crown of your head. So we're kind of thinking about the chest being parallel to the floor more here. And then we start to bend into our knees. Hands come to our hips, squeeze shoulder blades together, unhinge, come to standing pause once you come up here for a moment. And just kind of check in. And from here, let's take our hands behind us and interlace the fingers and just kind of open into the chest just a little bit. So, and you can take your hands a little bit from side to side. You can really get into it, really kind of shift so that we're opening into the shoulders. And then we'll start to take our way all the way up towards the top of our mat. And from here, we'll find our feet at hip width apart, hands in front of our hearts. And we'll start to lengthen arms up overhead, and we'll slowly start to lengthen over towards the right side. And then slowly we'll make our way up tall. Once more, exhale, left side when you're ready. Nice and tall. Once more, we make our way back up. Then we'll exhale our hands back down into our hips. We want to just make sure that we're going to check in with our feet because we want to make sure that we're going to start our foundation nice and strong and sturdy. So we'll find our hands when you're ready back in front of our heart. So make sure that you feel your feet are at hip width apart. You feel like you're ready, strong, getting ready for your standing work. And then we'll inhale, we'll lengthen in through the front of the body. We exhale, we swan dive down nice and slow. Take your time. Enjoy that process all the way down. And once you're down, take your blocks and right foot takes a big step back. So back foot nice and strong here. Strong into your front foot. Front knee and ankle nice and lined up. Most important thing here, keeping knees and ankles safe. Just gazing right down at the floor beneath you. Shoulders down away from ears. Nice and strong and sturdy here. We'll slowly start to let the back knee start to shift down. So back toes curled under. Take a second to bring a blanket or something underneath of your knees. A towel is perfect here. And we find our way. When you're ready, the top of the foot relaxes down. Right block starts to come in. So we start to bring our hand to the top of our left thigh and we find a little twist here. So this might be your twist. This might be all you need. You can lengthen fingertips up towards the ceiling though if you'd like. So active into our front foot and leg, kind of using that action of kind of drawing in just a little bit even into belly, hands, arms, and shoulders. Everything's kind of lengthening and strengthening at the same time. On the exhale, we'll make our way back down. Hand comes back down, top of the thigh. Hand comes down all the way to your block. Block in your right hand shifts back. Then left foot steps back. We'll take just 1 second. Let's turn so that we have our blanket just handy so that we can use it again on the other side. Plant our hands behind our blocks. We'll curl our toes under, lengthen to your plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. In this inhale, we make our way back down, so you might have to shimmy your knees a little bit further forward. Hands come back to your blocks. Right foot steps forward this time. Start to get strong and sturdy again. Curl back toe under to lift the back knee up. So strong into your feet, into your legs. Gaze just down here at your mat. Lengthening out here, so even lengthening out through the crown of the head, really noticing all this space that we're creating along with all this strength that we're putting into just supporting ourselves in our pose and how that's kind of helping out with this little hip opener here as well. When you're ready, we slowly take back knee back down, and then we'll find uncurling the back toe under, left block starts to shift in so that we have support right underneath of our shoulder with our wrist, and then our right hand comes to our right thigh. We'll open our twist open towards our right side. And staying here is perfect. Or if you would like to extend right fingertips up towards the ceiling. this exhale brings our hand back down to the top of your thigh. Then your right hand comes down to your block. Left block shifts forward, right foot shifts back. Plant your hands behind your blocks. Go ahead, remove your blanket, and then we'll find once more from our table, wrists and shoulders nice and lined up, fingers spread apart, curl toes under, lengthen your plank, belly's strong here, hands, arms, and shoulders strong, kind of making space along the back line of the body, as far as that space between your shoulder blades. And on the exhale, your downward facing dog. So sinking into the heels, really strong into the feet, in our hands and shoulders, and we'll start to walk our hands nice and slow back to our feet so that we come to a forward fold again. Head and neck relaxes. And this inhale, hands to shins. And this exhale, we fold. And this inhale, hands to shins, straight spine. Exhale, we fold. This one, we inhale, hands to shins. We'll pause here, so stay here. Find yourself nice and long here, all through the crown of the head. Bend into the knees here. Hands then start to come to hips. Squeeze shoulder blades together, unhinge, come to standing. Pause here. Check in here for a moment. Let's kind of notice how it feels to be upright again. And then we'll walk our feet up towards the top of our mat. So the blocks are right where we need them. We can find our feet about hip width apart. Our hands, finding our way back here, nice and strong. When you're ready, we're going to start to think about being strong in all of our poses just from here. So when you're ready, we'll lengthen in through the front of the body. Exhale, swan dive down, nice and slow. Enjoy that whole process down. Then hands come to our blocks again. Right foot takes a big step back. And just like we're in a lunge, but I want you to take your back foot now to a 45-degree angle. And take a second, make sure your setup is good, because we want the knee and ankle nice and lined up, so it doesn't hurt to take a second. And then we'll slowly take our right hand over to the top or in the front of our shin. So I take my right hand to my shin here, and then I'm slowly going to lengthen up like I'm drawing a rainbow with my hand to make my way to a warrior two. So take a second. I'm going to adjust my back foot just a little bit so I feel a little bit strong and sturdy here. I feel strong in my pose. So pausing here, the strength into your warrior two. And we'll add some movement here. So back hand relaxes down, front hand reaches up. And exhale, we'll make our way back down, warrior two again. This inhale, we'll reach up again, so nice and long. Exhale, we'll make our way back down. This time, if you would like, when you inhale and reach up, you can straighten into the front leg, get a little bit length here. And just don't lock that knee. Just make sure that the front knee is still a little soft. This exhale, when you're ready, makes our way back down. Warrior two once more. Checking in here, shoulders down. We'll start to reach forward. Bend the arm at the elbow, drop it down to the top of the thigh, extend the top arm up. So finding length along the side of the body, so especially from bottom set of ribs to hips. And notice just by kind of grounding into the right heel and right foot that you get a little bit more stretch there. A little extra strength in the front foot too. We'll slowly get strong into our belly. Make your way back up. Warrior two once more. Pause here. We're going to start to make our way back down. So we're going to lead with the right hand just like we came down. So nice and slow, you will slowly make our way back. And once you're here, hands to your blocks, take your back foot so that you're back to your high lunge. So you're back on the ball of the foot. And take a second if you need to adjust anything. Right block shifts in so that wrist and shoulder are nice and lined up. Left hand starts to come to left thigh. Start to get real strong here. And we're just going to open up. So if you want to extend left fingertips up towards the ceiling, you're welcome to, but I'm going to just focus on my torso twist. That's where I want my pose to be today. So you decide if you want to extend up, that's okay here, but I'd rather you focus here on strength, kind of squeezing in, strengthening up, and focus on the twist. One more breath here. We'll slowly stay strong as we make our way back down. Hands to your blocks, right block shifts over. Right foot is going to step forward, so you can hop it forward or step, and we'll make our way to a little forward fold. Pause here. Hands to shins on the inhale. And we'll exhale, we'll fold. Hands to shins on the inhale. Straight spine on the exhale, we fold. And this one, we'll inhale, hands to shins, straight spine. Shoulders down away from ears. And then one hand at a time, we'll make our way to that nice, strong, long back here. So our belly's strong, drawing in. We'll get strong into our feet. Little bend in knees, unhinge, come to standing. Pause here a moment. Take a second, check in with the feet just in case that you didn't get them quite at hip width apart like you might have wanted to. And we'll pause here, just checking in with our breath. And we'll slowly lengthen our arms up overhead. We'll lengthen over towards the right side. So another little half crescent here. On the inhale, we shift up. Exhale, left side when you're ready. And this inhale, we make our way all the way up. We'll then we'll lengthen in through the front of the body, so nice and long. On the exhale, we'll slowly swan dive down. So take your time all the way down, enjoy it. And then hands come to our blocks. We'll take the left foot this time and step it back. So the back foot shifts back to our high lunge again, but then the back foot goes to the 45-degree angle. So check in here, front knee and ankle nice and lined up. We got a minute for a setup, so we want to make sure that we feel sturdy and strong here. And then we'll take left hand to front shin, and we'll just lengthen up. So we'll keep this length, we'll inhale, we'll make our way all the way back up to our warrior two this side. So we just check in here. So shoulders down away from ears, check with the positioning of your feet, lengthening out through the fingertips, reaching for the walls, center of wrist, center of shoulder, best you can. Maybe check in with front knee and ankle. Ooh, I needed to check in with that. And then we just notice here, your warrior. A mighty pose. So strong into the feet and legs. So kind of get strong and active here. Well, then we'll add some movement. So we'll inhale and lengthen. Front hand up, reaching back hand down. And we'll make our way back to warrior two. We'll inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, we make our way back down. This time we'll inhale up, and if you'd like to join me, I'm going to straighten into the front leg. So just keep a little bend in it. We don't want it to overextend the knee in. We just want to keep a little bend, and that will just keep the legs straighter. And when you're ready, we'll make our way back to our warrior two. So check in here. Make sure we feel nice and sturdy. Then we'll start to reach forward. Bend the arm or the elbow. Drop it down to our top of the thigh and extend the top arm up. Nice and strong here. So strong in your front foot. So check in with all the corners here. Kind of really notice the back foot and all the way into the heel. And if we kind of draw the heel down, we get a little bit more length. So we're just focusing on this space here. Just one more breath here. So start to get strong into your belly, if you weren't already, and we'll slowly press up, nice and slow. Then from here, we'll start to lead with left fingertips, and we're going to find that draw the rainbow with our hand again, make our way back to hands back to our blocks. And I've got myself back to a lunge, so I've got my foot turned in back to where I was before. And strong and active into my front foot. Take your block in your left hand so that you can shift the wrist and shoulder nice and lined up. And check in front knee and ankle. I just had to check in again. Right hand, right thigh, opening up right side. So we just open our hearts open towards the right. And again, just start to get really strong here. So get strong in your belly. If you notice by kind of drawing the belly in, it gives you a little bit more room for twist. Belly's strong, even tops of thighs, buttocks is strong here, low back, everything's strong. One more good breath here. We'll slowly start to make our way back down. And we go slow in our poses because then we kind of build strength and stability. So shift your block in your left hand over and kind of bend a little bit into the front knee a little bit more if you happen to straighten it a little like I did. Step your left foot forward, find your forward fold. And then start to bring your hands down to your blocks. And we'll step the right foot back, but it doesn't have to be very far. Come down to back knee, step left foot back too. And we'll shift these blocks just out of the way for now. And we'll find our hands back up here, top of our mat. So once you're here, and I'm going to actually take myself just a little further back because we're going to lower down to our bellies here. So I just want to make sure that I have the space that I need for my pose. So we'll curl our toes under and lengthen to our plank here. So nice and strong and active into our belly. So draw the belly in, strong and active into hands, arms, and shoulders, kind of doming the back here. So slowly start to let the knees shift down, but stay strong, supporting them all the way down. Then start to bend the elbows, kind of pressing your hands into the floor as you lower all the way down. Once you're here, we'll slowly start to hug the elbows in towards ribs. We'll start to really press the feet, the tops of the feet down into our mat, and we'll start to find our little cobra here. On the exhale, we lower down a little bit. We'll ease up, but not completely. We'll stay strong. We get real strong. We find our lift back up. Engage even into the buttocks, hands, arms, and shoulders. We slowly lower back down. We'll do that one more time. We inhale, we reach, lengthening here. On the exhale, we lower down. Then from here, we press into our hands. We're going to bend into our knees, press into our hands and arms. We'll press up and back to our child's pose or puppy. We want to go to a straight spine though, so just find the one where you can get a good straight spine. And just pause here and rest just for a moment. Maybe take your right hand and pat the top of your left hand. Good job, body. Thank you. And slowly start to inch your way up nice and slow. So we'll come right back up. Let's find one more downward facing dog before we make our way to kind of slow down into our practice. So we'll find from here, we'll curl our toes under from our table, lengthen into our plank, exhale, downward facing dog, sinking into the heels, really getting long here. And then find your hands and knees. And then we'll find our way onto our sits bones. And we'll find our way onto our backs. So I'm going to have you have your blocks on either side of you. So take a second to make sure that those are handy and that your blanket's reachable, because it'll be much easier to have our blankets reachable. And when you're ready, we'll just make our way onto our back. And we'll find our way so that we are able to, once we're down, we'll start to hug the knees in towards our chest. And just kind of find some movements that feel good here. Then we'll release the knees. We'll find stillness and release the knees. Let the feet come flat to the floor. And we'll make our way to arms just down to our sides and our feet about hip width apart. And how I know that my feet are hip width apart is I just pick them up and set them right back down. So only about an inch off the floor. And that's usually just right where they need to be. And then my hands just to my sides, and I start to roll my shoulders down. So nice and strong and active into my hands, arms, and shoulders. Then engage your buttocks. Start to lift your hips. So nice and strong here, and hands, arms, and shoulders, strong into your feet. So kind of pressing into your feet, even especially into the heels. Buttocks stays engaged the whole time. That's going to support the low back. And then slowly we'll start to lower down. So take your time to come down. That's also strength that we're building there. And then we'll start to hug the knees in towards your chest. We'll find stillness, release the knees, let the feet come flat to the floor, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. And we'll start here just by kind of drawing the right knee down. So just whatever feels good here for a moment. And that may not be doing much for you. If so, start to reach for the back of this thigh here. So you could even reach for the shin if you'd like. Just make sure that head, neck, and shoulders is able to stay rested on your mat at all times. And if it's kind of hard to reach for this, I recommend a scarf, or we use a strap in yoga, but you don't have to have a strap necessarily, just something that you can keep your head and neck relaxed and you can still draw it towards you, and kind of holding it with both hands is helpful here. And then from here, I just kind of find what feels good here. So just kind of shifting and swaying, finding what feels good. And you can kind of shift around to find tight places that kind of need your attention here. And I just kind of find what feels good. And if you kind of find a spot that feels tight, you can kind of work all around that area. Don't just feel you have to focus on one spot, kind of wiggle and shift and adjust and kind of find. And also, if you're more for stillness, you might see me wiggling around a lot, and I do. My joints need a lot of movement, and I'm just listening to my body. But if you find stillness works better for you, I encourage that. And we'll find from here, so find some stillness, then release your foot so that your foot comes, or your leg, so that your foot comes flat to the floor. Then cross your right leg over the left. And kind of take a second here to make sure you feel like you're in a good position. Then we'll slowly start to shift the knees over towards the left side for a twist. And I like to take my block and have it for support underneath of my top knee, and I use the medium height. But that's why I wanted everything close by to you, so that if you need more height, you can always add it. And then wherever you are, so you can be right here, just looking up towards the ceiling. That might be just plenty today. Or you might want to bring your gaze over towards the right side. And wherever you are, just finding what feels good here. Sometimes I'll even take my right arm and just kind of bring it either to a T position or an upside down V. Sometimes I'll take my left hand to my right hip and just kind of draw it down to the knee a few times. And sometimes that just allows me just to relax a little bit more fully into my pose and just kind of let go in places that I might be kind of holding on instead of letting go like I need to. We'll slowly start to shift our gaze back up towards the ceiling. We'll just unravel our legs and then start to bring our feet back flat. And then we'll start to think about the opposite side. So if you needed a blanket on the other side, if you want to shift your blanket over to the other side, I highly recommend doing it now so that you can just enjoy that process of the pose. And when you're ready, we'll just slowly pick up our left foot and we'll just find that ankle shifting over the thigh so that we feel like it's a little bit of leverage. You can start to draw the knee down just to start. And when you're ready, you can start to lift your right thigh towards you and reach around and find a place to grasp it. And if this side feels a lot different than the other, that's okay. It's pretty normal. Everybody kind of has one side that's tighter than the other. And it makes complete sense because we're always kind of on the move, and we usually always take steps with we have a more dominant side of the body. So that side would be a little bit tighter. So just find what feels good. Kind of mimic what you did on the other side, just to make sure that both sides are treated fairly and lovingly. But also feel free to make this what you need on this side too, because that intuition is really what helps us in these types of poses. We let go and we just find what feels good. So we just kind of let the process kind of work itself, if you will. Kind of our own understanding of our own bodies is what guides us. So just kind of allowing that. And just any kind of back and forth movement, or if you find a spot and you just want to stay there and breathe there, I encourage that too. I know if you're watching me, I wiggle around, but you find what you need. And then we'll start to release the legs so that the foot can come flat to the floor. Cross your left leg over the right. Arms just however's comfortable so that you can make your way. And we'll start to find our right knee starts to shift over, or our knees start to shift over to the right side. And use your block for the same things. So, if you used it for a little bit of extra height, I encourage it. If you need more though, please feel free to use as much as you need. And then when you find you're in a good position, you can bring arms into a T. You can shift the arms kind of in an upside down V if that gives you more stability here. And it's a little bit more awkward, so of course, whatever you need to feel comfortable here. And if you'd like, you can take your right hand to your left hip and just kind of draw your hand down your leg. And sometimes that just kind of encourages length where I'm still needing it. And once you get settled in, just relaxing in, letting your twist just feel good for you. And we'll slowly start to shift our gaze back up towards the ceiling. So unravel your legs and then bring your feet flat to the floor again. And then we'll find, so we might have to kind of shift the hips a little bit so that we find that we have our buttocks all the way back down. Draw your knees in towards your chest, kind of find a little bit of movement here. So it's kind of like we use child's pose. So feel free, if it feels good for you, to kind of draw the knees further away from each other and kind of find some little shifting side to side. That's always okay. I'd like to do one more bridge with you. If you're not feeling it, you're ready for final relaxation, that's always okay. So always feel to omit poses that I'm doing with you. But I would like to do one more bridge with you. Slowly we release the knees and we let the feet come flat to the floor. And we shift our arms just down to our sides, roll shoulders down, and we really have palms flat against the floor. So we're nice and strong and active into our hands, arms, and shoulders. So we're kind of drawing those down towards the earth. And then we'll slowly start to engage the buttocks, really press into the feet, active into the legs. So we're keeping knees about hip width apart. Start to lift the hips. So keep buttocks engaged the whole time. That's going to support your low back. And we just come up and we hang out here for a moment. So strong in hands, arms, and shoulders. See if you could get a little bit stronger there, even all through the fingers. Kind of notice if there's places of your hands that you're not pressing in that you could do to support your body further in your pose. You may come down whenever you'd like. I'm going to stay here for just another breath or two. And then on my exhale, slowly start to lower down, but stay strong all the way down because you need to support the body all the way back down to your mat. And once you're here, draw the knees back in towards your chest. And then any final things that you need, of course, you can always add in. And I'm just going to start to make my way to flat on my back for my final relaxation. So arms relax down to my sides. If you need some extra comfort here, so maybe a rolled blanket underneath of your head and neck. Anything you need here is perfect. Just taking a moment just to rest and let our bodies be completely relaxed here. And so the purpose of our final relaxation at the end of our yoga poses is just to allow for muscle memory. So we've been doing poses or exercises that we've maybe never done before, or maybe it's just been a long time. So we come to this pose at the end so that it gives our muscles this opportunity to remember. So that the next time you come to this practice, your body will remember and it's more equipped to perform the task. So checking in with any tension that you might be feeling in your body, or maybe places that you haven't really settled yet. So maybe checking in with shoulders. Could they be a little bit heavier across your mat? Could your toes shift off to the side? How would that make your pose feel? Maybe noticing if you should relax into the muscles into your face. That's where we hold a lot of tension. So maybe relaxing your eyebrows. Let them hold no expression. And then your eyelids. Let your eyes just fall to the side. And then relaxing your cheeks. Let them show no expression too. Then swallow once. Relax your tongue. Just allow your lips to be soft over your teeth. And then relax your jaw all the way to the space behind your ears. Maybe noticing if there's other places in your body where maybe you haven't relaxed yet. So maybe where your neck and shoulders meet. Maybe your shoulders. Down to your elbows and wrists and through your fingers. Maybe even into your hips and knees. All the way down to toes and ankles. We'll slowly start to wiggle our fingers and toes. And just start to reawaken the body. And then one knee at a time bends to bring the feet flat to the floor. And then eventually drawing knees in towards your chest. Then raising your right arm up above your head to roll over to your right side to elevate your heart. And using hands for support to come up to a seated position. So I would normally recommend that you take your blanket and find your blanket underneath of your sits bones, but I'm not going to disturb him. So we'll find our way just here, just checking in. And just kind of notice how we feel and how that compares with how we felt when we first got on our mat today. And just remembering that you have created this change. You did this. So thank yourself. Thank your body for the work that it does, but don't forget to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to do something that nourishes your body. And thank you for joining me today. I always enjoy it. And if you have any comments for me or anything, there is a comment section down below the video that you can make comments, or I love to hear your feedback. Everything is very helpful to me so that I know what you would like to see more of. So yes, and don't forget to, if you like videos, to make sure to let YouTube know that you like it by clicking the like button at the bottom of your screen. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.